Good night. Hi.
Hey, just trying to get my things aligned.
How are you?
I'm so good, really good. I really can't complain. Some people complain about stuff. I really, apart from some days being too hot, I'm good. I'm good.
Fair
I'm
enough.
really good. See, both of us have head wraps on, hon.
It seems that way. We're great minds, great minds.
Well, it's good. You look well.
Thank you. And so do you.
Last time I saw you, you had a massive. How old is the bump now?
Yes. Sorry. That was my last daughter. She's now 3.
Oh my God. So that's the last time I saw you, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So I had to turn up the volume. Yeah, 3 years ago. So that's good. So the last time I saw you, I think I did your event.
Yes.
Yes.
I was actually just thinking about that.
Yeah. I saw you on my way to Guyana, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And Michelle asked me if I wanted to do, Michelle Doyle, she's my PR agent for Barbados. And she asked me if I wanted to do it. I can see Barry's online. Belgium, Barry boy. Can they see me?
Yes, they should be able to see you.
Barry. Okay. Love you lots. Love you, Belgium. Coming back to see you soon. Girls Academy was there. Oh, yeah.
I think she actually even, if I remember correctly, some of us, you had an event shortly after my event. And a good few of us went. I think she would have been there as well, if I remember correctly.
Oh my God, I can't remember. Oh yeah, wasn't there?
Good.
What was the event? It was I know we were eating pizza or something.
It was at Tapas.
Tapas.
Mm-hmm.
At that corner where Hastings. I was only like 2 minutes away. That's where I lived, in that tourist area. Good Lord. Yeah. Everything was double expensive, but I loved it. Because I come out my apartment and then go down the little steps, and I was on the beach every single day. So I wasn't this complexion. I was seriously brown. I loved it. And I come back and do that again as soon as they let us out. Yes, Barry, I'm here. How are you, ladies? She looks good, huh? Barry, where are you cooking? You know, Barry, let me tell you a little bit about Barry while we're waiting. Barry's a Belgian man, right? A Belgian man who basically, in London, he used to terrorize me sometimes. And then we became friends. And, now, we love each other. It's pure love.
I thought you were going to say he was terrorizing you from afar. He's saying that he feels like he needs to tie up his head to stay apart.
Huh?
Get the head tie, Barry, and come.
Yeah. Join, put on your head tie, and let me all look alike. We can take a picture looking fabulous together. But he did a good job. He writes nicely. Tells people off, right? You go on his page, and he tells people off in Beijing. I don't know how the people just understand what he's saying, but I just spend half an hour trying to work out, because he writes it in Beijing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I just be like, it's really trying for self, and then eventually I get it. I get it. You know, he cusses me off if I say anything rude, but then he does it to everybody. Do you know
I am not sure, to be honest.
him?
I would
Okay.
probably have to see his picture.
You will soon. You will soon. He's
Yeah.
very good. But thank you for being up at midnight. For those who are joining from London, and
Mm-hmm.
Barry is in London. Thank you for coming out.
Well, thank you and welcome everyone. So we're going to get started. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Make It Happen with Chamara interview series. The purpose of this series is just to offer views, strategies, and stories to encourage and inspire women to tap into their inner being, embrace who they are, dream bigger, and dig deeper within. I don't believe that you're innocent, though. I believe, Sharia. I'm just saying. I'm Chamara Hollingsworth. I'm from Vision to Reality International, and what I do is I help women to take bold, decisive action to move their business from vision to reality. And today I have with me Sharianne Dixon. And Sharianne has an extensive resume. So I'm going to take out some extracts of that resume and just read to you. So it
Thank you.
goes empowerment, leadership, unquenchable motivation, hope. These are perhaps some of the best ways to describe the skills and talents which have served to define Sharianne Dixon over the years. Such traits have also enabled her to rise through the echelons of professional society in order to arrive at the pinnacle of her success. Her accolades are as impressive as her personal sense of duty to the public, and therefore it only stands to reason that a modicum of recognition is in order. Having said this, greatness is not only measured by one's list of prior accomplishments, it is also gauged by the impact that an individual has upon the world. This is when Sharianne Dixon truly begins to shine. Whether referring to her adult roles as a magazine editor, a magazine editor, a motivational speaker, or as the founder of Women on the Crossroads, there's little doubt that her impact has been felt throughout numerous communities. Sharianne has led a truly extraordinary life, and it is completely understandable that she's proud of her many accomplishments. However, there are a handful of achievements which can serve to succinctly illustrate how this inedible sense of passion has transformed her very own life. These include in-depth interviews with Dr. Maya Angelou, Sir Nelson Mandela, and Baroness Doreen Lawrence,
Mhm.
public speaking engagements with artistic societal icons, including Whitney Houston, Diana Ross, Luther Vandross, and many others. Um, Other things to note is that she's had the opportunities to speak at sessions such as the International Day of the Girl Conference in 2015, 2016, and 2020, as well as the 60th session of the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women. And she's also being featured, correct me if I'm wrong, but being featured in many articles such as the patron for National Black Women's Network, the beauty editor the beauty editor of Pride magazine for 7 years. She was the editor-in-chief of She Caribbean. She has had the Women of Excellence Special Recognition Award. She's been appointed as the director of Justina Mutale Foundation, and she's been appointed as the director of Guyana's first Women Chambers of Commerce and Industry, and so much more. You know, you can go on, right? And I think I read some of these things because I think they're very impressive, and I think it's amazing that you've had the opportunity and the ability to do a lot of the things that you've done, right? So welcome, Sharianne.
Thank you. Thank you so much, darling. It's nice of you to ask me, and it was great that I had the time. It's because it's the middle of the night, that's why.
Okay, so what we do before we really jump into any questions is I normally play like a little game before we get into it. So the game that I have for you this evening is called My Favorite Thing. And really, what I'm going to do is just call a word and you're going to tell me your favorite of that thing. So for instance, what's your favorite color?
Fuchsia. Pink. Fuchsia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuchsia. Nice. Movie.
Fuchsia.
Yeah, all in the head, wrap on everything. What's your favorite movie?
Pretty Woman. I still watch it over and over again.
Julia Roberts. Yeah.
Why?
Can you hear me? Yeah. Let's see. Hmm. Hmm. We lost her. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to get her back on and see what happens. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm. Okay. Let's see. Not seeing her come back on yet.
Well,
Ah,
that's the first.
yeah, first to me too. Well, we learn and we grow.
Yeah. So you were just saying the second question. What's the second question?
Right. So I was asking you, what's your favorite movie? Oh,
Um,
you said Pretty Woman.
I said Pretty Woman. I love it. I watch it over and again. I have so many of them though, but Pretty Woman is one of those ones that I even got the DVD still, although I haven't got anything to play with it. I like that.
Fair enough. What about your favorite book?
At the moment, it's my favorite book. Look, it's right here. It's Think Like a Monk.
Okay. I can't
You
remember
see
his
that?
name. Yeah. Yeah, I can see it. I
Ooh,
can see it.
Think Like a Monk.
Or Jay
That's
Shetty.
my favorite book at the moment. Okay.
Okay.
By Jay
Tell me
Shetty.
idea.
I really don't understand why I'm gonna move around. I don't understand why we're not getting everything is all right here. But hey, can you still see me? I'm gonna move so that I can get better signal. Is that good?
Yeah, I can still see you.
Is it my signal or is it yours?
I don't know because I seem to I don't seem to be sticking, so I think maybe it might be yours, and we could try for a little while longer and then see.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna stand up because sometimes that works. Hey, we gotta find a way.
Okay, no problem. Crystal is saying that she thinks there's an audio version of the book. So I definitely am going to check out the book for sure. Okay, so do you
Oh,
have a favorite animal?
great if I could get an audio version of that book. Yeah, because I love it. I absolutely love it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I definitely will be checking that out. Um, all right. So what I'll do now is let's get into the questions, considering the challenges that we are having. Yeah. Hmm. Okay, so what I'll try to do everyone, if that's okay with you, I'm going to end the call and
Hey, well,
Hi.
this is better, although it's darker, but hey, you can see me, right?
Yes, please, I can. All right,
Okay.
so let's try. Let's try to see what happens here. All right, so my first question for you is, what was your defining aha moment that led you to do what it is that you do right now?
How do I?
What was your defining aha moment that
Aha.
led you to do what it is that you do now?
I think it was, I was in London,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember that I just returned from St. Lucia, right? And I was an editor-in-chief of She Caribbean. And I remember going back to London and hated it. I hated what I was doing. The it just wasn't right. Something was wrong. And I was applying for new jobs. And they kept saying that I was overqualified. And so that was a way of saying maybe too older. They didn't want somebody in their 50s to
Mm-hmm.
come and work for them because, and especially if you're a magazine editor and you've done all the things that I did, it was probably too threatening. So what I did was I I think I went into a mini meltdown. I don't call it depression. I call it meltdown. And in the meltdown, I was saying to myself, you know, what am I worth? What is my worth? What is it all about? What is this all about? Well, maybe I wasn't good enough. All the things, the questions that you ask yourself when you're on a down. And then I remember the friend asking me to speak at her event. And I went and I spoke there, and I was probably very powerful because I was passionate about the fact that we should be celebrated, especially as women of color. And it was ridiculous that they were sort of like sidelining us. Oh, you've done your bit, you go away. And I think I was very powerful then. And there was a lady in the room, and she sent a message asking if somebody or that woman that was speaking would like to come and do a weekend course at Hillcroft College. And I said, yes. I said, yes. And I went and I lectured there because I'm a qualified lecturer. And I went and I lectured there on gaining confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know what? That day, everybody wrote on the Survey Monkey how wonderful the course was. And then they booked for the next course that I was doing. And I think that was the defining moment that I knew that I was powerful. I knew that I could help people to change their direction because I went through what they were going through. And in that room, there were doctors, lawyers, there was even a politician in there. And years later, after I finished that course, right, I got an email. I've given everybody my email, which you never do, but I did. And she sent me a message saying, you thought that I was the quiet one in the room, but I was quiet because I was so depressed by the fact that my daughter had been raped or molested, and I had a breakdown, and the doctor sent me there to get back my confidence. And it makes me feel so good because they've moved us from the area where she was molested, or from the person that was molesting her. And now I'm looking out the window and she's outside playing on the green grass. And I tell you, I sat there and I cried because then I knew I'd made an impact. I knew I'd made my mark, and that was the journey. I stopped doing it for colleges, and then I started Sherry Dixon Consultancy, and I started to do it for myself and then for other motivators who wanted to join the journey.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so knowing that you had that aha moment, what is it that kept you passionate about what you do? over the years?
When everywhere I go, even if I leave London and I went to South Africa, no matter where I go, Barbados, Trinidad, St. Lucia, Grenada, and now Guyana, I realize that women are going through the same issues, the same problems, lack of self-esteem, domestic violence, colorism, all those things. And for that reason, I do what I do, because every woman has to realize that there is a way out. There is a way that she can make herself visible. And she's somebody. She is somebody. And I believe that I can show a woman how to claim her worth. That's what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think I did that? In the sense of, can you remember when we were at your event, your big event that you had, and I went around the whole room, and it didn't matter how much time I had, every single woman had to say her statement of who am I, and that was awesome, and it still comes up on the video for Facebook.
Everybody was standing.
Everybody stood up, and and it was a standing ovation. That was a really good thing. And it's things like that that make me realize my worth. Can you see me in anything?
Yeah, I can see you. I actually think what you did was very powerful. And I know a lot of the parts of your story will stay with me, and evidently many others. Just yesterday I was talking with a friend of mine, and she was like, you should get to come and talk because we were discussing some events that I'm looking to have coming up. And she was like, who you should get to come and talk to some of your people? That lady from Guyana, I can't remember her name. And I started to laugh because it was like, okay, well, I have her coming on to interview her tomorrow, and this is, like you said, almost 4 years down the line. And people still remember that, so it does show that there's a great level of impact for what you have to say and the things that you do. So what are some of the things, or do you have any tips to give persons who might be interested in speaking on the levels that you speak at, how they can make their presentations, or even what they do, how they can create greater impact in what they do?
Well, first of all, hon, I think for the ones who haven't started and want to start, you have to start by speaking to somebody. And that somebody could be, even if it's a practice session, practice with the people in your house, right? Choose your subject, make it 3 or 4 paragraphs, and then speak to them. Because how else are you gonna know how good you are, right? And if you don't want to do it to them, do it to the recording machine. And you speak to yourself, find your subject, speak to yourself, and then see how powerful you can come over. If you can, you should go to some workshops. We're hoping to start a few this year, and I wanted to bring on some powerful motivational speakers who will talk about how did they get into what they're doing. Some went off and they joined courses and they've done other things. Some of them were like me, who were just I think I was born powerful. And it seems a bit show-offy to say that, but my grandmother said when I was 6 years old, she didn't tell me this, but she told my auntie, who then told me. One day she was sewing and she listened at the window and she could hear me talking to the young people from the bottom stairs and saying, we've got to do it, we cannot fail. And that, obviously I was talking about exams. All of us had to pass whatever it was that you would be doing at 6 or 7. And so I think I was always cajoling somebody. I think somebody's got to be in your nature. And then finally, I think that you then have to go on and do courses, public speaking courses. If that's where you want to go, public speaking courses would be very nice.
Okay. Would you say you had to make any shifts in your perspective when switching from the world of work into starting your own business?
Yes.
And if so, what were those shifts?
There were big shifts. There were shifts that, first of all, when you're going into your own business, I have to tell people this, there are many times that you fall. There's many times that you land on your knees because, number one, when, unless you've saved up for years and you've got a little pot put aside, you tend to, not everybody pays you on time. You know, the cash flow is the problem. Everybody wants you to do stuff for free. And that's good if you're trying to build your brand, but you still need money to eat. So I would say to anybody that's getting into this business, perhaps not to go into it full time, do something else, all right? And the second thing that I would say is that the shift for me, because I remember I was a makeup artist as well. So I was doing a bit of both until I found my niche, until people started following, because you've got to build a following in order to do it. And I did mentoring, I think, for a lot of people wanted to be mentored, and I was a good mentoring, and that helped your income stream to come in. There are going to be many times that you fall. There's going to be many times that you fall flat on your knees, or flat on your belly, I should say. But I always tell my mentees, while you're down there, right, I know you're going to cry, you know, cry and cry hard. But what you should do is make your to-do list when you stop crying. And then I think that then when you get up, you're ready to bolt forward. Don't lay down there for no reason, because crying is all right. I tell people, cry when you're upset, cry. But then when you can't cry all day, because if you cry all day and you cry for days and days, that's different. That's depression. But sometimes things don't go, or you get a booking and then, you know, then the people say, we didn't make enough money, so they don't pay you. And, you know, sometimes your partner is the person who will say, well, I ain't sure about that. I don't think you should do that full time. Or in fact, I don't think you should do it at all because it's taking up too much time. I think a lot of people who go into that business can testify to that. What is it for? They give you all the negative reasons to sometimes start your own business. But if you're passionate about your business, and if you really love the business that you're in, or planning to be in, I think that you should just keep on doing what you want to do, but make sure you don't leave the family starving.
Fair enough. Something you said about family members, or not only family members, partners, you know, friends, people who don't see it your way. How would you suggest people handle what you would probably call the naysayers?
I listen to them. I wouldn't say that I didn't listen to them, but I listen to them and I take some of what they say on board. But then I still did what I wanted to do. When I wanted to leave PR and go into makeup artistry, I think my husband at the time, because I'm divorced now, but he thought that I was having a menopausal moment, a senior moment. And I was like, no, I know what I'm doing. I know that I'm gonna be good at this. And I proved it, not just to him, I proved it to myself, because I then went on to do makeup for people like Luther Vandross, Barry White, Diana Ross. You know, they can go on my website and see it. I did all those people. And then I went on to teach makeup. And while I was teaching makeup, I was making money. I used to be, that I think helped with public speaking, because you're talking all the time. You're always talking. And so I think that I proved to him I could earn. I remember working in PR the whole week. And then I got a booking to do a play, which obviously is in the evening. The show starts at 7:30, 8 o'clock. And I would leave work at 5 and run to get to the studio, to the place. And I would then make up the people. And at one point it was too much. I was getting so tired, and I asked a girl to come and help me. And even the other day she sent me a message saying, I remember those days and I will never forget it, because as you go up the ladder, you really should be holding somebody else's hand and
bringing them up with you.
Yeah, bringing them up with you. So basically, I did that, and I knew that beauty was my passion. But then after a while, instead of just doing beauty, I would ask those celebrities or the people that I was making up, you know, little questions. So how did you do this? How did you do that? And I would get the answers, and that's how I did it. When I first met Nelson Mandela, Sir Nelson Mandela, I was there to make him up. I was there as the makeup artist. And then they were trying to hurry him up, and I said, well, he said, do you think I need it? And he looked at me more like that. Do you think I need makeup? And I said, you need a little powder, but even if you don't, let's pretend. And basically that's what I did. I pretended. And then I did him, and then all the other celebrities that I've done. And I got hints and tips from them, or I'd write about it. And if you write about something, you know, then of course you become the makeup artist of worth, or the beauty person of worth. And then I was asked by TV stations to come on if they had issues with skin, whatever it was. I was the go-to person. So you have to build your brand, is my point. Build your brand. You just don't get to the stage that the lady who's popular is by just copying her wording or her website or what she did. You have to build your own brand. And many makeup artists, and many of them basically wanted me to, they just wanted me to tell them how I did it. And so I would tell them. I'm never afraid to share my journey, never ever. Because I always say to people, stop hiding. You know, this is the thing I want to say to you. Everybody wants to go, I'm going to hide because I don't want her to copy. Listen, my name is Sherry Ann Dixon, right? Understand this. It's Sherry Ann Dixon. I'm the one that's done this, 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 and this. So if they copy me, they have to copy Sherry Ann Dixon. As long as you understand your worth, just remember this, whoever's watching, understand your worth, and understand your brand. You are your brand.
So be your authentic self always.
Be your authentic self always. Be you. Be who you are. I'm sure I am the person that you saw at that day that spoke to those ladies. You didn't even know what to expect, because my PR dealt with you, Michelle, and basically when I got up and I spoke, I can believe that what I was saying then is what I'm saying now. Yet I have done much more. I've traveled the world. I've spoken to so many TV stations, so many platforms. Since then, the United Nations I've spoken at, the House of Lords, House of Commons, the European Union. Wherever they ask me to speak, I speak. You have to be able to deliver. And that's what I want you to understand. Deliver. If you know yourself, then you deliver effectively.
Okay, agreed. So how important is it to have a team? Because you mentioned Michelle, who not too long joined in a panic. But she made it. Michelle approached me as it related to, asked me if this lady Sherry Ann Dixon can speak at the event. And honestly, when she told me about you and I agreed for you to speak, I didn't know who you were. However, it was really amazing. It was really amazing the fact that you delivered, how you delivered, So how important is it to have a team to be able to reach your dream?
It is very, very important. I think that as much as you try to be, marketing manager, makeup artist, dress designer, the whole lot, some days it just don't go so, as Jamaicans would say. It don't go so. You have to, as much as I can do my makeup quickly in 5 minutes and I know my clothes, when it comes to the marketing, I like when I have somebody here in Guyana, and I also have somebody in England, and obviously Michelle in Barbados. And they will tell you, don't accept that because that person hasn't shown that they know who you are or respect who you are. They look out for the flaws in that person's platform. And I accepted you because I know your platform, or I was there at your platform, so I know you deliver. But it's important to have a team of people around you who is looking out for you, who sometimes is at the event with you, because you get, well, for me, I get people who hover around me, and in this day and age, it could be quite nerve-wracking because we have some unwell people, and you know, they come right close to you and you have to be careful. So we have people who are always looking out, because sometimes people just want to be you so much that they actually want to hurt you. It's really funny to see. Yeah. You said it.
Pardon?
I said I was trying not to say jealousy.
Well, it is what it is. It is what it is. Posh Lifestyle BB, she's saying that she likes that in terms of when you were speaking about building your own brand.
Yeah.
And the importance of it.
I want to walk back to my computer and hope it'll behave, because I wrote something for you. Okay? And I want to deliver it. So let's hope that it's better now. Please behave, just at least for half an hour. So, okay. I wrote this for you. I said, I believe your personal power is your ability to show up. And I say that, show up fully as yourself, and accept both the rewards and the consequences that come with being authentic. Only by unapologetically living in your power are you able to reach your full potential. When you show up, and I wrote that in capitals, when you show up and honor yourself, you become happier, you communicate more effectively, you lead stronger teams, and your authenticity helps lift others up on the same level. It's no one else's responsibility to help you get a vision for your life. It really is not anybody else's responsibility. When you don't have a clear vision for how you want to show up day to day, then you have nothing to hold yourself accountable to. As a result, most people who fail to create a vision often feel stuck and stressed. Being stuck is a choice. So let's dig ourselves out of the mud. But you have to be clear about the emotional wake that you want to leave behind when you interact with others. There you go. The emotional
I think that was
wake.
very
Yeah, the
tiny.
emotional wake. Do you know what when I say the emotional wake? Because most of us, when we're depressed and you're down, it's like somebody's died, like something's died. It's an emotional wake. But you know, nobody's died. So if you get up, unbutt yourself. I mean, some people say unask yourself from the sofa and do bits of that when I spoke yesterday at the Guyana Women Chamber of Industry. Whoops,
You're beginning to stick again. Yeah. All right, let's give her a chance. Priscilla is saying facts, man, facts. It's true. And Michelle is saying, speak it, Sharianne. I think what she just said was very powerful. I'm actually going to ask her to send that to me so that I can share it on the page so that everybody can read what she said. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask Sherry-Ann while we wait for her to come back? Okay, that's right. Very powerful words. So start sharing. Feel free to share any questions you may have so I can ask Sherry-Ann.
It wants to misbehave today.
Well, the positive thing about it is that it did not stick once while you were reading your what you prepared
Yes.
for tonight.
Yeah, it is, but you can hear me all right now.
Yes, I love that
Good.
painting, that
But
piece you
that
have there in the
is
background.
in okay. You can see me?
Yeah.
Good. Well, you see, I'm giving you a little view of my apartment by walking up and down. But, you know, to be quite honest, I can see lots of people in the Zoom room, in not the Zoom room, but, you know, this Instagram room, and lots of them I know. And to be an influencer, to be able to say to somebody, to say to somebody, you know, you can do it. Just some people ask, come and watch you, and I say, yes, come and watch me, come and watch me. And lots of people have, and they send you messages years later saying, thank you for that motivation. That's what I feel my journey is. I'm probably skipping ahead of your questions.
That's okay, as long as the information is there.
Is
That's
it doing
fantastic. You're speaking
Can you hear
again.
me?
Yes, I can. I can still hear you. Crystal is saying it's not a question, but she says you're such a powerful influence, and she would just love to hear more of your journey. Perhaps we can make that an opportunity. I think I'm hearing you. No. I do apologize for the technical difficulties tonight. Okay. So very quickly, somebody was saying they want to hear a bit more about your journey. So it's going to lead me into the next question. What was life like for you, let's say 15 years ago, as opposed to how it is now?
Well, compared, all right, let me touch on this, and I'm going to be very blunt. Miss Markle, Meghan Markle has nothing to complain about in comparison to what women of color have gone through in England. When we're in England, we suffered great prejudice. We got, we weren't given jobs that we deserved. You know, everything was based on institutional prejudice. While I, you know, as I fought myself up the ladder, where I was good is that I was a mouthy kind of girl, and when they speak to me and they say you can't.
I'm breaking up again.
And I said, well, why? And she said, well, they said they don't know who we are. I'm like, what? The magazine's like over 10 odd years or more. And so I called them. And I said, I did the same thing. She says, can you send me this product because we need to photograph it, blah, 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 because you don't have stock shots. And she said, yes, of course. And then she said, oh, what magazine is it again? Pride magazine. Oh, would you mind popping us a copy of the magazine in the post? And I was waiting for it. And I went, no, I'm not sending you a copy of the magazine in the post. You must be a newbie. You need to go and research and to know that we've been around for 10 years. We're the top magazine for women of color, and you're telling me you don't know. In fact, I don't want to speak to you. Go and get your boss, because something's very wrong that I'm speaking to a junior. Anyway, she went and got her boss, and then I said to her boss, I'm calling it out. You guys are prejudiced. This is racism. Because why is it that I'm not even in your A, B, or C list, and you're saying that you won't send me that product? Yet I have a credit card and I go into Orders of Croydon and I buy blah, 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 blah. And I tell her, and while I was sitting there, I was taking it out of my makeup bag and I was saying, this one. And I said, so you're telling me that my magazine cannot show your products to women of my level that can afford to buy it? And even if I saved up a penny a week and I couldn't want to go and buy it, who are you to tell me that, you know, my magazine's not good enough? She said, are you calling Chanel racist? And I said, yes, I am. And then I said, do you know what? I'm not going to discuss this with you. I will leave a square in the magazine, a quarter page, and I will write that we asked Chanel to send us some products, and I will add all the other people with them, you know, and I will say that you refused to send it to us. Do you know, within, I think it was half an hour, all the products came and more. We could have been an agent for Chanel. But my point in saying that is obviously not to be aggressive and stupid, but I believe that we, as particularly women of color or people of color, should stand up for ourselves, and we should say with intelligence, call the person out when they're wrong. And we have social media now, so that makes it worse. So that is me. I believe that I've grown in that 15 years. I'm the same person. The only thing is now I've moved from being a magazine editor to being a public speaker. And being a public speaker, I can now say what I have a platform. And when you have a platform, you can say with facts, you must know your facts, and you can discuss something and say when it's right or wrong. I say I'm powerful. I say that I'm an awesome person. I say everything I say about myself or to myself, I actually believe. And that's one of the things that I mentor. When I mentor, I teach people and I tell them to practice. After saying I am, what you say after I am is so important. I'm powerful. I'm an attractive looking 67-year-old woman, so don't mess with me. I am, all the I ams. Understand your worth. When you understand your worth, you will then, well, people, if they mess with you, you have a comeback, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I've got you stunned there. I can see you looking at me like, is she all right?
Not really. I'm looking at Michelle's comment, right? She's telling us to get you to speak about you and Maya Angelou. And before you start speaking about it, just want to point out that my youngest daughter is named after her. I'm very proud of her.
Ah. Okay, which part of Maya Angelou? Maya Angelou is somebody that I met. They called and they said, would you like to interview her? And I say, and everybody else in the office was going, you know, old woman, you know, ageist. And I said, Maya Angelou, because of course I knew who she was. And I said yes, and I did it, and I interviewed her first in the office, and I spent the whole time looking at the recording machine, hoping that it goes along. So then they invited a few more journalists to come to where she was living, and I went, and she was doing, I think it's yoga, because she was on the ground. And I took off my shoe from outside, and I sat on the floor with her, and we had tea. And she said to me after the interview, you're powerful, use your power, you know, in her own drawl, you know. She said, you're powerful, use your power. And she wasn't the only one that said that. Ayanna Van Sands wrote it on a piece of paper for me, which is at the front of some diary. I stuck it there, and it says, use your power, use your power. And she put yours in capitals. So when somebody tells you about yourself, you know, and it's a good thing, then believe it, work with it. And I liked what they said to me, you know. And having the opportunity to come from working in PR to then going to become a makeup artist and then ending up interviewing all these top people. I mean, come on, that must be divine intervention, right? So that's why I'm still doing it now.
Nice. What would you say is your definition of success?
Success is when you're happy, and you're happy all the time. Success is, everybody says success is money, right? But they have people with money who are not happy. I wrote it down the other, it's funny you said that. My version of success is me being happy. When I laugh, and this, I'm writing my book, and I don't know when I'm going to finish. I think we're going to have to break it down into two. When I laugh from my belly, when I laugh from down here, that's when I'm happy, because I'm actually cackling. And Michelle and I, sometimes when we're talking on the phone, the laughter is like, you know, when you can't breathe, that's called happiness. And I think that when you are extremely happy, whether you have, you know, £1,000 in your account or £10,000 in your account, it's about happiness, because there's no point being unhappy and having money, because, well, you could be unhappy and then die, and your children will take it and make their own selves happy.
Fair enough. I think that's interesting.
Take it. Somebody will take it, right?
It's true. Happiness is key, and Sherry, I can cackle. I know you have. Yeah.
I know you said that.
I was having a discussion with someone the other day, and their argument is that you can't possibly be happy without money.
Really?
Yeah, it's interesting the different views that people have.
Well, I've interviewed people. I've interviewed, while I'm here, there's a man that's living in something that I would call a shed in England. And he goes and he picks his natural fruit. Because we were handing out bits to people at the beginning of COVID. And he said that even although he didn't have much, and sometimes after 6 o'clock he has to burn those little kerosene lamps, he said, I'm happy because I sit back and I look at other people and I'm happy. He said, there's not much I want. All I want is to make sure that at least I can eat at the end of the day. So who's to define happiness? He's happy. I wouldn't be happy in there because I'd be worried about snakes. But he's happy, and I'm happy in my apartment, and the lady next door is happy in her big house. So maybe you have to have money, a certain amount of money, to stop stress and to get what you want. But really, once you get what you want, you should stop fighting for it. Success is when you're happy.
I agree. That's posh lifestyle. Okay. What kind of changes would you say you had to make in your relationships over time in order to see the success that you see today?
In my relationships, you're talking about man.
It could be man. It could be your relationship with yourself. It could be your relationship with family.
Okay. Let me tell you about my relationship with myself and family. I think that with family, sometimes you have to set the boundaries. I want you to hear this. Set the boundaries, because when you have no boundaries, people keep coming. They keep coming for you, and they set the boundaries for you, and you keep moving back because you haven't said, this is enough. You are not going to cross this line. You have to tell people how to treat you, because if you don't tell them how to treat you, they keep making up the rules. So don't moan when they make up the rules. So I had to learn that. I had to define my boundaries are. You also have to with your children, and I'm telling you as a grown woman with your children, you have to be able to sit with them and talk to them about your journey, because remember, all they see is mother, and they think that you should be there to babysit. And that would have been, in my case, at the age of 40 and 50, that's like, well, you're old, you can sit down, you're not editor anymore, you can sit down, look after, you can babysit. And I'm like, no, hello, I've still got a life to live, because I brought you guys up. So now is my time to exhale and do what I want to do. So I think in whether it's your partner, all right, let me talk about partner. With your partner, as you climb the ladder, we must remember to sometimes take them with us. When I say take them, I don't mean, share every penny, but they have to understand what you're doing. And then you have to remember that they're your partner. They're not your business partner, they're your intimate partner. So sometimes when you come home, you have to put the hat, the motivator, well, for me, I'll just speak about myself, put the motivator hat on and give attention to that person. It's okay to jump in the shower with them. It's okay to do mad things with them. Let's sit on the bed and eat pizza. I mean, I'm being, depends on you what you want to do, but give that person time, because sometimes the issues that come about because they're not getting enough attention, and this is man or woman, that's the reason for the breakup. And I can say that's the reason for the breakup of my marriage. I was like, listen, you can see I'm working. What is it? What else you want? But that's not necessarily with it. Sometimes you have to show them your journey. You have to show them your journey and where you want to go.
So pretty much, as you develop yourself in business, you have to also look at developing your relationships as you go along the way.
Let the person know that you're not moving away from them, you're moving with them, not moving away from them.
Okay, I mean, so my question...
You don't have to do that. You shouldn't have to.
No. My face was more like, I'm just thinking through the process. I know my facial expressions sometimes throw people off. Sometimes as people grow, their mindset kind of grows away from the person that they might be with at the time. So what happens in those situations? I find myself asking that question.
I've got to work on your relationship. You've got to work on the relationship, because if your relationship, if you're growing and the person that you're with, no, don't. Why? Okay, it's back. I'm walking around saying, no, don't go. Your relationship, if you're growing and your partner's not growing, you will have a big gap in the middle. So either that you check that out and try to fix it, or you really move on quite quickly, because I'm not a believer of wasting time. I don't believe in wasting time. Your partner should be on the same page with you. They don't have to do everything that you do, but I believe that they should be, they should understand the growth. We're on the same book. We're in the same book, yeah? So if you're in the same book and you're reading the chapter, I might be ahead of you in the chapter because I can read fast, but I know he's going to catch up sooner or later, or she's going to catch up sooner or later.
Okay, so to me, this leads into support systems, because I think sometimes one of the challenges people might have in not only their relationships with intimate partners, but their relationships with family as well, is that in some cases they're not getting the support they need or would like. And sometimes it is also that they don't appreciate that there are different kinds of support. That's something that I acknowledge as well.
Well, I think that number one, if you're going to go into business, sometimes the business just develops. It's not something you plan. But if you're going to go into business, I think you should look at all that. It's no point going and getting the funding from the bank manager for this business and you really haven't got the back end to support you. And so to me, when I'm in business, or when I was in business, different businesses, I actually realized that my mother-in-law was my biggest support, and I will never stop saying that. My husband's mother was better than my side in the sense of supporting us. And sometimes she got tired, but she understood the journey that I was on. And if you can find somebody that understands the journey and believe in your journey, then I think that's how it works. But you really should have that sorted before you start moving into bigger business. Otherwise, you have to be able to afford to have a nanny. That's the other side of it.
Yeah. Actually, I guess I've been having quite a few discussions recently in terms of, when you start to grow your business. Like for me, when it comes to the care of my children, there are two people that I depend on heavily,
Yeah.
That would be my mother and that would be their other grandmother as well.
Right.
Depends on, like, if it's a case where they have to sleep over automatically, that's my mother. And I'm very lucky that she's more open. She's very open to being able to keep the children if I need to do any of those type of things. But then she's also one of my biggest supporters. And anytime I have an event, no matter what it is, my mother is always there.
Yeah.
And only time she's not there, I would dare say the only time she's not there is that she had to keep the children. But I do remember most of my up to my last Divas That Dazzle session, my mother decided, okay, well, I can be at the session. So she brought my daughter with her and she just kept her there, So she was kind of fulfilling both roles at the same time. She's been to all of my workshops and paid to do them, and she's been there in the background supporting diligently. And I know very early on, I thought she wasn't supportive because she was telling me things that I did not want to hear. But over time, I started to realize, that's not really support. She's giving me her opinion and she's giving me the best advice she could possibly give me, but she's still being supportive throughout the time. And I think
But
sometimes we don't see those things.
and also the one thing I must say to sometimes they're telling you things, but it's based on their experience and their
Mm-hmm.
time. But it's a
Mm-hmm.
different time now. And I know my son always says, I'm not going to listen because every time I listen, I find that I hear the negative first. And so he used to say that about somebody else in the family telling him things. Sometimes you got to jump in and bail yourself out. It depends on what type of person and depends on the type of job. But it's very difficult for women because we have to think about the children, the clothes, the food, the washing, every blooming thing before we even get out there and do our work. But we normally, they said 75% of the new business startups in this pandemic are women. So we do start them, but we don't end them. We don't carry it through. We always, it falls by the wayside. So you have to, when you start a business, try and look at the end result, the longevity of it all. There's no point in starting lots of businesses and every minute they're either cooking, palari or roti and curry and selling it at the side of the road, and then next week, you're doing something else. People see you as an opportunist. You need to think about what you're doing.
Okay. A number of questions popped up there. Earlier, you mentioned the fact that a lot of women start their businesses, but they never end them. And you kind of touched on part of the reason why that may be. My mom is saying that she's still supporting and listening to my interviews. I'm just saying. But what advice outside of stop jumping from one thing to another, which I'm sometimes very guilty of, what advice would you give to women who are starting a business at this time to get them to see it through to completion?
Okay, listen, there are two sets of people. So I know a marketing person, I know she'd love to speak to you. she's very good. And she said, I started my business on, I'm sure it was like £25 in the bank account. And she's one of the top marketing gurus in England. She's extremely good. And she started off with what she had in the bank, which I'm sure it's £25, or whatever it is, it was under £100, right? And she just went for it. She has 4 children, and she just works out her timing. She gets up in the morning, she makes sure that they're all right and the breakfast is set on the table, and then she'll be up all 4 o'clock, and then she's getting her work stuff together. And then they have the other person who would go and borrow £25 from each person. That's called investment. And you get people that can invest in your business so you're not struggling with it. There are so many ways of starting a business, but you must do your homework first. I don't think that I did. I mean, I'm telling you the truth. I don't think that when I left PR, I was perfect at PR, absolutely perfect, because I worked for the top PR firm in England at the time. And but I knew I could do makeup, and I knew it was good, but I didn't do my cash flow chart. I really didn't. And I bailed myself out, and I made a lot of money. But I didn't do, I was one of the lucky ones, and some people could do that, but not everybody can. So before you invest in the business, really sit and work out your cash flow. What do you plan to achieve? What have I got to invest? Normally you'll see you have less, not enough money to invest. But if you've got people who support you, you can take chances.
Okay. Gathering thoughts. Okay. One of the things I think might also be the challenge is sometimes we look for instant results. And then when we don't see the instant results, then we're like, done with this because this ain't working out. So outside of, the investments, how do you encourage persons to, I think it has a lot to do, like, based on what you were mentioning just now, the 2 words that came to me while you were speaking were passion, because you moved from something that you were really good at to something you were passionate about. And the fact that you did not overanalyze or do all of your homework is because on some level you had the faith that it was going to work out. So passion and faith, I think, are key as well. This is not discrediting the homework. I think research and making sure that you know what you're getting into is important, but it doesn't always happen that way, So if that is not happening that way, at least have the passion for it and have the faith and believe in yourself. I think that's the next thing. I think what I've been realizing a lot of it comes back to what you were talking about earlier as it relates to self-worth.
Yes.
A lot of us don't believe that we have the ability to achieve the things that we want to achieve, and this is why we give up before we even give ourselves the proper chance.
When I was doing makeup, let me just, I thought about that as you were speaking. I used to work, selling makeup indirectly. So while I'm doing the makeup, I used to make them all up, and then everybody else, some people just buy a lipstick or they buy a lip pencil, the little things. Those women that does Mary Kay. Not that I was selling Mary Kay, but something like that. And then one day I went home and I was so dejected. I was like, well, I stood on my feet for like 2 hours and I gave everybody a makeup lesson, and I come away with orders for like £20, let's say, right? And I sat there and I said, what can I do that makes it different? I didn't want to give up the makeup, but what can I do that make a difference? And then I worked out this plan. Everybody that has a party for me, makeup party for me, I will give them a gift. So people like freebies, right? So I would give them a gift. Or let's say if I can get 10 people in the room and each person is paying, say, £25. I made it as small as I can, but multiply that 25 10 times. then of course I'm going home with money. So whether they bought that lipstick or not, I went home with money. And that was how I got myself out of not giving up. I went home with money. So not only was I getting orders that were coming in for the makeup, it wasn't really coming in for the products, what it was doing is coming in for the makeup lessons. So the things that I could tell them, how to put on foundation, how to do it really fast in 10 minutes, how to use a lip liner as a lipstick, how to do an eyeliner above and the bottom and, you know, make it look good, you know, and how to use a lipstick as a blusher, because they were coming in, you know, the matte lipsticks, they're really good. So you put them on and you can actually tap it on and then rub it in, you know. How to make a liquid foundation, because at that time it was cream to powder was the thing. And how to make a liquid foundation so you go into the shop, you still look fabulous, but you don't look like you had makeup. And the tip for that was to put the moisturizer on your hand, a little dab on your hand, on this part of your hand, and so the foundation, and mix it with the moisturizer and then put it on. So you have a glow, but it's not, you don't look made up, you know. And people love all those tips. So they paid me the
You dropped a little bit there in the end.
I dropped. Yeah, I dropped because it's saying my battery's low. It's basically, I'm saying is that people want to know tips, and they paid me for the same makeup, but I was doing a makeup class rather than selling them the product. They bought the product afterwards anyway, because I was using it to make to the person I'm demonstrating on. But what I'm saying is that I went home with money. So I used the same makeup class and I turned it around. So sometimes you have to look at your business. Just look at your business and say, how can I turn this around? Can I give somebody, if they're eating those little sugar cakes, can I give them a miniature sugar cake for their daughter? And that person would always come back there, because then she's getting something small. How much is that costing you to give her that miniature sugar cake for her child? Do you see what I mean? Start looking at your business. Look at your business and how you can pretty it up, right? But most of all, what you need to do is have the confidence that when you walk out that door, that you are going to be awesome. You're going to be awesome at whatever you're doing. And I always say, I'm awesome. I'm bloody awesome. If I really wanna emphasize it, I'm bloody awesome. And you know, it doesn't mean that I didn't get up this morning and think, oh geez, I just want to lay down one day late, rather than having to do all these things. But you get up, you show up, as I said, show up and be confident in what you're doing. Otherwise, don't do it. Don't do it. Give it up.
Okay.
Okay.
Excuse me. As your battery is dying, I'm going to take this opportunity to very quickly to thank you for joining me on the call today, and to thank everyone for joining us in this session. I really enjoyed it. And earlier today, I asked a question on my IG stories about where you're from. Asking people if they can identify where you're from in order to win a 1 hour session with you. And
I can see Michelle saying, sugar cakes to people's children, give them whatever they want, right? Don't worry about it.
One sugar cake is not going to do the children too much harm, and the parent can determine when the child can get the sugar cake.
That's right. That's right. You tell her.
So the winner, before I go, is Posh Lifestyle BB. She's the first person to answer the question correctly. So I'm going to send you.
She's in the thread saying, I really enjoyed this session.
Yep. So congratulations, Melissa. And well, y'all will, when y'all connect, you'll see you have some stuff in common, right?
Okay, thank you so
Wow.
much. I'm sorry about the internet, but I don't own GT&T, right?
Yeah, these things happen. These things happen, but it was still a fantastic interview nonetheless.
Thank
We
you.
have reached our goals. Academy saying it was awesome. Oh gosh, Posh Lifestyle here celebrating. Um, Richard Goals Academy. Abby's also saying what you were talking about in terms of being innovative, and she's saying that it's
Oh,
contagious. I actually think those are great ideas because sometimes we can't think about how to keep things fresh in our business, you know. So I think you dropped a lot of gems tonight, even with the technical challenges. All right. So thank you very much. Ah, she's gone. Okay, well, thank you everyone for being here tonight, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your night. I'll be posting this as usual in I'll be posting this as usual in my IG as well as on YouTube. I think she's coming back on.
bye.
Bye. Have a
Thank you.
great night, everyone.
Thank you,
Uh,
everyone, for listening.
and don't forget to follow at Sherry-Ann Dixon as well as Make It Happen with Chamara on Instagram. And then you can go from there.
And you'll send me the details of the person who won, right?
Yes.
Okay, everybody. Have a good night.
You have a good night as well. Bye bye.
Bye.